This is Selena. Selena is a patient at the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center. She likes to spend her time wandering around the halls, singing and entertaining her fellow patients, and occasionally, when she can, eating people. And this is Leon Kennedy. Recently, I had a thought while working on my Requiem retrospective. This guy, Leon, has been fighting bioweapons for almost 30 years. He went from a scared rookie cop to effectively a superhero, slaughtering monsters like it's his favorite pastime. I wanted to know how many bioweapons that he's destroyed at this point. So I looked it up, and I couldn't find a straight answer. So I did the only thing a normal person would, and decided to dedicate a week of my time to consuming all the canon Resident Evil media involving this character, to count every single kill. It's a lot, by the way. I'll be providing a full breakdown of the results. The totals, the number of enemy types, what percentage comes from which virus, etc. Before we jump into the results though, I want you, yes you, the viewer, to write a comment guessing how many enemies Leon has killed. Give me an estimate. If you're the commenter with the closest guess, then you will win the ability to say that you were the commenter with the closest guess. So here are the rules, or context, for this count. Number 1. I can only use canon Resident Evil media. This is an obvious one, but I want to point it out because of something we'll talk about later. Also, we'll be using the remakes for Resident Evil 2 and 4, as Capcom seems to imply that these have replaced their original counterparts in the canon. I talk about this quite a bit in my Requiem video if you want to hear more on that, but for this, all you need to know is that we'll be using the 2 remakes, and we'll be playing the Leon A scenario of Resident Evil 2, since that's shown as canon in Requiem. Number 2. If Leon is fighting enemies off-screen, unless we get confirmation of a kill, it doesn't count. This is only an issue with the movies, as there are some scenes where Leon is firing a gun at enemies, but the camera doesn't show us how many. Therefore, we can't really count it. Not unless we see bodies afterwards. Number 3. I will not be counting variants or mutations of enemies as separate enemies. Any zombie or ganado that mutates is still just counted as that enemy. And number 4. Due to the survival horror nature of the games, specifically Resident Evil 2, I will be doing 2 separate counts. One based off of a normal playthrough, and one for the maximum number of enemies that could in theory be killed. This is because in a normal playthrough of a survival horror game, you're encouraged to avoid enemies and save your resources when you can. You're not usually prioritizing killing the enemies unless you need to, or you can spare resources. In truth, there is no perfect counting strategy when it comes to this, so I just decided to do 2 separate counts. Also, I'm going to try not to spoil too much of the games or movies in case someone hasn't experienced one of them, but I am going to talk about every enemy type, so you've been warned if that matters to you. Everything makes sense? Good. Let's get started. We begin on September 30th, 1998. On the outskirts of Raccoon City, rookie cop Leon Kennedy arrives at a gas station. Something is clearly wrong. Here Leon interacts with his first zombie, and we come across our first counting dilemma. Yes, already. You see, when we shoot this zombie and run past it to get the gas station key, he will always get back up. It's very easy though to just run past him to escape. Therefore it's up to us to decide whether or not to finish him off. Ultimately, I decided to kill him and count this zombie as Leon's first kill for both counts, just because it's a cool first kill. Anyway, Leon escapes the gas station, runs into Claire, and they make their way into Raccoon City. We come to this section where Leon and Claire are separated and have to navigate through this horde of zombies to get to the RPD. Because we have so little ammo, or even none at all if we decided to kill the first zombie, I'm not going to count any of these zombies. In fact, even if you're playing the game with bonus weapons like the infinite rocket launcher, you can't actually get the weapon until you arrive at the RPD and open an item box, meaning killing these enemies just isn't a possibility. At the RPD though, we meet Marvin, who gives us a knife, and we begin to explore the station. This is where the count truly begins. For this, I went room to room, counting all the enemies one by one. Then I played the game like I normally would. In the RPD, I counted a total of 50 zombies, 7 zombie dogs, and 4 lickers, bringing the total max enemy count to 62. I'd only killed a handful of these enemies though, 15 zombies, 1 licker, and 0 of the dogs. I realized I was playing a little bit too efficiently. After running from Mr. X and meeting Ada, we leave the RPD, heading for everyone's favorite location, the sewers. Here I counted an additional 10 zombies, along with 6 G-adults and 1 giant alligator.
Holy shit!
I used the elevator to go back up into the RPD, where I did some more exploring and made up for my earlier efficiency by using some of my saved resources to kill some more zombies. In the game's final location, Nest, I counted 19 zombies, 2 lickers, and 11 Ivy. You know, the plant monsters. It's here where we finally get to add some unique boss enemies to the kill count as well, being the Tyrant, Mr. X, and the game's final boss, G. Now, depending on what character and scenario you choose to play, this plays out a little differently, but regardless of the events, Leon and Claire both work together to kill G, so I'm counting this as a kill for both of them. At the end of Resident Evil 2, I personally had killed only 45 enemies, but there's a maximum total of 113. Now we move on to a bit of a controversial subject. Operation Javier. So here's the problem. Operation Javier, a mission Leon goes on with his new partner Krauser after becoming a special agent for the US government in between the events of RE2 and 4. This is a canon event in the timeline, but it's never been depicted in any canon Resident Evil media. The only time we've seen it depicted is as a playable section of Resident Evil The Darkside Chronicles, which is an on-rails light gun shooter game. Because of this, I can't count the kills in this game for the total, but I decided to count them anyway because I was curious. There are 10 different enemy types and 2 unique bosses. The total kill count is 246. Again, this won't be added to our canon total, I just counted it for fun. Moving on to Resident Evil 4, Leon finds himself in rural Spain on a rescue mission searching for the president's abducted daughter. It's now 2004, and Leon has changed a bit. He's no longer a scared rookie cop. Now he's a jaded US special agent having been trained by the best of the best. Because of this, RE4 is not a survival horror game, at least not in the traditional sense. It's more so an action game. Due to this, we are no longer doing 2 separate counts, because outside of some specific encounters, Leon is very much able to kill everything that comes after him. We're also no longer fighting flesh-eating zombies, but the mysterious Ganados, which can use weapons and think. Just in the village, the first third of the game, we've already surpassed the maximum total for RE2 with 199 kills, 2 of which are unique boss encounters. We successfully find Ashley and then are forced into Salazar's castle, where we're introduced to numerous new enemy types, including these really annoying bug creatures called Mavistadors. Beneath the castle, we have a unique encounter with the Verdugo. On a normal playthrough, it's pretty unlikely that you'd be able to kill him, as you're usually just supposed to try and outlast him until the elevator arrives. Therefore, I'm not going to count the Verdugo towards the total, but it's up to you whether or not you want to count him. At the end of the castle, our count has added an additional 388 bioweapon kills, split between 9 enemy types and 2 boss fights. Eventually, Leon makes his way through the castle, taking down the Castellan. Ashley is captured again, this time by Leon's former partner Krauser, forcing Leon to travel to a nearby island for the game's final act. Here we deal with even more Ganados and their mutations. The standout enemy in this location is the Regenerador, or Regenerator. This enemy is unkillable when we first run into it on a normal playthrough. We can destroy its limbs and blow holes in it, but it will just regenerate, like the name. It isn't until we find the biosensor scope for the Stingray rifle that we can actually harm it, by targeting the parasites within its body that allows it to regenerate. So the first two regenerators we come across do not count towards the total, as we wouldn't usually kill them. After this, there is a room of 4 of them locked in these pods. In my playthrough, the Ganados caused all the pods to bust open, so I had to kill all of them. So I'm counting all 4. After this, there are 2 more that will bother us on our way to the final area. There's also an optional mini-boss variant and a few that are in these bags, which if we bump into them, they'll attack us, but we can pass by them if we're careful. If we kill all of them, then we have a total of 10 regenerator kills. This includes the Iron Maiden and mini-boss variants. At the end of the game, we take on Krauser, and the game's final boss, Sadler, bringing our total kill count for RE4 to 781, split between 11 enemy types and 6 unique boss encounters. 1 year later, in the events of Resident Evil Degeneration, the first CGI movie we'll be looking at, Leon finds himself assigned to lead a special response team investigating a bioterror attack at the Harvardville airport. He takes 2 SRT agents, Greg Glenn and Angela Miller, into the airport to help evacuate survivors. One of the survivors turns out to be Leon's old acquaintance, Claire Redfield. After escaping the airport, Leon, Claire, and Angela work together to uncover a conspiracy involving the T and G viruses, and a connection to Raccoon City. This is a fun movie. I'd never actually seen it before making this video, and I have to say it's really nice to see the voice actor for the original RE4 Leon get to spend more time as the character. I also think that this film may have my favorite version of Claire. But this isn't a movie review. I counted 25 zombies and 1 G. Yes, G, like the final boss of RE2. There's another one in this film. So an additional 26 bioweapon kills thanks to Degeneration. The next year, Leon and Claire find themselves uncovering yet another bioweapon conspiracy, although mostly separately. This is Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, a CGI Netflix miniseries made to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the series. There are 4 episodes, all about 25 minutes long, so this is effectively another CGI film. They just cut it into parts for some reason. There isn't actually a ton of combat involving Leon in this series, but I counted an additional 6 zombies, 25 infected rats, and 1 unique boss. It's not a boss fight because this isn't a game, but if this was a game, this enemy would have been the final boss, let's put it that way. So another 32 kills for the count. 5 years later, in Resident Evil Damnation, Leon finds himself being sent into the fictional Eastern Slav Republic, which is currently involved in a civil war, where bioweapons are reportedly being used in combat. He investigates and finds himself as an enemy of the state, along with his old friend Ada Wong. This is my personal favorite Resident Evil movie for a number of reasons. It's a nice mixture between the classic Resident Evils and the Resident Evil 4 era. We have both T-Virus and Plaga-based bioweapons. By the end of the film, I counted 7 Lickers, 4 Ganados, 1 Tyrant, and for the first time, 2 humans. Yes, Leon kills actual humans in this. There's this scene towards the end of the movie where Leon and Ada fight a bunch of soldiers together, but most of it is off screen, so we only get to see Leon directly kill 2 guys, although there are more bodies on the ground. It could have been Leon or Ada, so I can't really count more than just those 2. Regardless, it's another 14 kills for our count. 2 years later, we finally get to the next game, Resident Evil 6. This game is a straight-up action-adventure game, so I knew going into it would take a lot of time to sort through. Similar to the previous two games, I decided to split Leon's campaign into sections for my own sanity. I decided on splitting it into 3: Tall Oaks, the Cathedral, and Lanshiang. Starting with Tall Oaks, Leon gets his first kill in a cutscene, and it also happens to be the President. A bioterror attack has taken place, infecting the President during a visit to a college campus. Leon is forced to kill him, and then Leon and this other agent, Helena Harper, are framed for his assassination by Derek Simmons, the game's villain. They make their way outside where they find the town of Tall Oaks being completely ravaged by the new C virus. There are zombies everywhere, and by the end of the first chapter, we've already killed 189 zombies, 3 zombie dogs, 2 shriekers, and 2 whoppers. Yeah, they call these larger zombie variants whoppers. Leon and Helena escape Tall Oaks, making their way to the cathedral outside town, where Helena assures Leon there's important information pertaining to the outbreak. At the cathedral, Leon and Helena discover a massive underground dungeon-esque facility in ancient ruins full of infected monsters. They slaughter everything they see, including a giant shark monster that's just there for some reason, and Helena's lost sister, kept captive by the game's villain, who turns into this. Capcom knew what they were doing with this enemy design. By the end of our time here, we've added an additional 180 zombies, 6 zombie dogs, 7 shriekers, 3 whoppers, 1 lepotitsa, and 2 unique boss enemies. After escaping the cathedral, Leon and Helena get out of the country, heading to Lanshiang, China, to investigate their lead. This is when they finally cross paths with all the other RE6 protagonists, including Chris, Sherry, Ada, and Jake. Here, Simmons, the villain, releases another C virus infection, causing a truly apocalyptic scenario. By the end of the final chapter, we've added another 90 zombies, 4 Rasclapanges? I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, but they're these enemies that can like break apart into pieces and then come back together. They're kind of like regenerators a little bit. They're cool. 1 lepotitsa and 1 unique boss, giving us a total for Resident Evil 6 of 498 kills. 1 year later, Resident Evil Vendetta takes place. Leon is actually more of a side character in this movie, as it mostly focuses on Chris and Rebecca, but he still gets to kill a lot of enemies. There's this one specific scene where he and Chris take out probably 100 zombies altogether in one hallway, like it's a Daredevil fight scene. It's incredibly over the top. Overall, I counted 26 zombies and 2 zombie dogs killed by Leon. The next movie, Death Island, picks up the next year and carries on the story from Vendetta. This is the first and only piece of Resident Evil media, at least that I'm aware of, that has all the core protagonists present in it. Don't know why this didn't happen sooner. Jill is arguably the main character here, but Leon does get some kills. I counted 2 zombies, 10 amphibian lickers, meaning lickers that can breathe underwater, and 1 unique metahuman kill. This gives Death Island a total of 13 kills for Leon. And then finally, we get to Leon's final and most recent appearance in the series, as of now, Resident Evil Requiem. Here, Leon shares the spotlight with Grace Ashcroft, so he's only playable for about half the game. You wouldn't be able to tell from the numbers, though. Leon arrives in Rimwood investigating strange deaths among Raccoon City survivors. His presence causes the game's villain, Dr. Victor Gideon, to cause a small-scale T-virus outbreak in Rimwood to try and slow down his pursuit.
I'm going after Victor.
Just in this brief Brynwood Streets prologue section, Leon kills 18 zombies. After arriving at the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center, Leon adds another 55 zombies, 1 chunk, and 1 blisterborn. Now I do want to point out, depending on how you play as Grace in the care center, There can be some variation here. The more enemies Grace kills, the less will be there for Leon, and vice versa. I just decided to go with the number in the care center that I personally had, and I did go kill everything. The majority of the enemies are in sections where it's always the same though. After losing Grace, Leon makes his way to the ruins of Raccoon City, where the count truly begins for this game. Grace's half of the game is effectively over at this point, and we shift to an action game following Leon. Leon has to assemble a detonator made from parts scattered throughout the city, forcing him to fight his way through many enemies. Once we have the detonator, we blow up this gate, and have an on-rails motorcycle chase where we get an additional 13 kills. At the end of the Raccoon City portion of the game, we have added an additional 167 zombies, 1 tyrant, 1 blisterborn, 19 spiders, 13 garmer, 9 seedlings, and 2 unique boss encounters. Eventually we make it to Ark, the lab where Victor took Grace. Here we have to fight human soldiers, for the first time ever in a mainline Resident Evil game. I counted 11 guards in total, including the commander. Lickers also return here. I counted 13. At the end of the lab, I had an additional 34 kills, bringing our total for Requiem to 321, split between 12 enemy types. Alright, that was a lot. Are you ready for the full breakdown? Here we go. So in total, among all of Leon Kennedy's canon appearances in the series, I counted a minimum total of 1,777 kills and a maximum total of 1,833 kills. If we add Operation Javier to our max, it brings us to 2,079 kills in total. And here is the maximum number of kills for every enemy type. 847 zombies, 638 ganados, 55 novistadors, 26 lickers, 25 zombie rats, 21 colmillos, 19 spiders, 18 zombie dogs, 15 plagas, 13 garmer, 13 humans, 11 ivy, 11 armadoras, 10 brutes, 10 regenerators, 10 amphibian lickers, 9 shriekers, 9 seedlings, 7 chainsaw ganados, 6 G-adults, 5 zealots, 5 whoppers, 4 El Gigantes, 4 Rascalopanges, 3 tyrants, 3 Garradors, 2 Gs, 2 Lepotizas, 2 Blisterborns, 1 zombie alligator, 1 Del Lago, 1 Batorres Mendez, 1 Ramon Salazar, 1 Jack Krauser, 1 Osmond Sadler, 1 Deborah Harper, 1 Berzak, 1 Derek Simmons, 1 Jason, 1 Maria Gomez, 1 Chunk, 1 Titan Spinner, 1 Plant 43, and 1 Nemesis. Ugh. So now that you have the totals, here are some interesting statistics. Zombies make up 46.6% of all of Leon Kennedy's kills in total. When it comes to the games, Resident Evil 4 has the highest number of kills, making up 42.9% of Leon's total. Resident Evil 6 makes up 27%, Requiem 17.7%, and Resident Evil 2 with 6.2%. Then the CGI movies make up the rest. When it comes to the different bioweapon viruses, this is the breakdown. Las Plagas makes up 43.2%, C-Virus makes up 27%, T-Virus makes up 26.5%, A-Virus 2.1%, G-Virus 0.4%, and then the other 0.7% is not related to any of the viruses that we know of. And there you go. Now you know how many monsters Leon Kennedy has slain over the last 28 years. This took a very long time and a lot of work to gather all these stats, so I'd greatly appreciate a like and a sub if you find this video interesting. Now the next question is, does Leon have more kills than Chris? I don't know. and I'm not finding out right now because I need a break. But maybe if this video does well, we'll continue this as a series. For now, I just want to say I appreciate you watching to the end. You're the best. Take care.